Man, after a few hours of playing video games, it sure is nice to get outside and take a small break away from the screens. Well, for most of us anyways.
Wait. Oh, sorry. I've been just so addicted to this game, I can't seem to put it down.
Well, while your eyes stay glued to the screen, you're missing out on the incredible nature surrounding us. It's so interesting to me how microorganisms continue to survive and thrive all around us. Some bacteria have actually developed different abilities or intrinsic resistance in order to adapt to challenging environments, which coincidentally also protect bacteria from antibiotics. The origin of these abilities can be found encoded in bacterial genomes. Since the abilities are codified within the genomes, daughter cells inherit the resistance features directly from their bacterial mother cell. Most importantly, these intrinsic features occur independently of selective pressure caused by outside influences, meaning that intrinsic antibiotic resistance occurs everywhere, including within soil, water, and even extreme environments, like hot springs.
Speaking of which, this game goes into great detail about this phenomenon, which has apparently been around for a very long time. How long exactly? Well, in this level, we are going to travel all the way back to the Pleistocene era, nearly 30,000 years ago. I'll show you. Using highly preserved permafrost samples, scientists have been able to analyze ancient DNA, which contain a wide range of antibiotic-resistant genes that are known to code resistant to antibiotics such as beta-lactam, tetracycline, and glycopeptide. A class of bacteria called gram-negative bacteria possess some of these abilities and can be found in many environments. They have a protective outer lipid membrane that is impermeable to many molecules. They also have a greater number of transported proteins, known as efflux pumps, on their cellular surface that allow bacteria to remove toxic substances inside of them, which just so happens to also work on antibiotics. These two types of intrinsic resistant mechanisms, membrane permeability and efflux pumps, are among the most common ones, though we are constantly discovering new mechanisms. A more recent example of intrinsic antibiotic resistance can be found in the bacterium Mycobacterium tuberculosis. This human pathogen causes tuberculosis, a well-known and potentially serious infectious disease that usually affects the lungs, though it can affect any organ in the body. This bacterium has a wide variety of intrinsic resistant mechanisms occurring naturally in the bacterium's genome that limits the options for antibiotic treatments. With these examples, we can see how intrinsic resistance creates a standard level of antibiotic resistance in both natural environments and those impacted by humans. On its own, intrinsic resistance isn't a public health concern, but when selective pressure is introduced, it might be shared more rapidly between bacteria.
Wow, I guess you did learn a lot on that level. What is a public health concern, though, is what we call acquired resistance. This type of antibiotic resistance is like an upgrade for bacteria, and was mainly caused by our own human activity that has transformed the standard level of environmental resistance in an alarming way. Can I see that? The colossal production and use of antibiotics introduces a strong selective pressure to microbial populations that are thus more likely to spread and acquire resistance. From a human health standpoint, selective pressure may happen when we dispose of pharmaceutical manufacturing waste, when antibiotics are used too often, or when we use antibiotics incorrectly. These are not the only human activities that contribute to selective pressure on bacteria in the environment. In particular, the main activity in terms of antibiotic consumption comes from the breeding and caring of farm animals, or what is called animal husbandry. In the United States, animal husbandry represents more than 60% of the total antibiotic consumption. While treating cattle, swine, and other animals with antibiotics increases the selective pressure over the animal's microbiomes, this practice also affects the selective pressure over bacteria in the environment. When moving through an animal's digestive system, antibiotics stay pretty much intact, which allows their impact to last much longer than we imagine.
The fecal waste containing these antibiotic residues from cattle, chicken, and swine farms is often aged and then spread over crop fields to help crops grow, like a fertilizer. However, as we are constantly learning, changes to natural environments typically have unintended results. Similar to how humans take antibiotics to cure infections, we treat livestock with either the same or highly similar antibiotics to keep them healthy. When that manure is applied as fertilizer, the antibiotics and antibiotic-resistant bacteria that end up in the manure make their way into the environment.
Rain washes away the topsoil and the manure off of fields into nearby ditches and streams. From here, antibiotic residues and antibiotic-resistant bacteria begin to spread through the environment.
Our actions, even the seemingly good ones, have consequences. Using antibiotics to treat disease and help crop growth are all necessary actions that improve our daily life.
Oh, but they also create selective pressure on bacterial populations, leading to an increase in acquired antimicrobial resistance.